We're continuing to get out and doing events like this as well, so it's really kind of my regular schedule plus all this extra stuff on top.
So what has been kind of your favorite memory or memories from your time in office?
Rodeo, but we had so many great things, it's just hard to pick.
And I was one of those Nebraska fourth graders many moons ago, so I do remember them.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. Is there anything you would do differently looking back on your 8 years in office? Is there anything that you would maybe change or do differently now?
Well, I mean, first meet him at the airport, but that would be one thing. It's like, oh, in hindsight, we probably should have just said yes right off the bat.
I guess, what, how do I, lost my train of thought here.
That's okay, it's video, they can cut it.
I know, that's right. That's why I make them, they make me look good. There's a lot of big moments, I guess, in Nebraska history over the last 8 years. Flooding, wildfires, COVID-19. How do you think your administration handled all of those big moments looking back on it now?
Well, there's no doubt over the last several years, Nebraska has faced a lot of challenges, as has said we were the #1 best pandemic response state. We came out #2 in the National Bureau of Economic Research. We struck a balance here to be able to slow the spread of the virus, to let people live a more normal life, and it's really paid off. We kept kids in classrooms, we kept people in their jobs, and that's been very important.
Is that what makes Nebraska see for the future of this state after you leave office? Whoever takes your place next and maybe even after that, what do you hope to see for the future of the state?
Well, we've got a tremendously strong foundation here in Nebraska right now. If you look at, for example, at the state level, our state revenues are running well above forecast, and that just is one indication of how strong our economy is. We've got one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, one of the highest workforce participation rates, so people are working here in our state. Our kids are doing well in the classrooms relative to other states, recovering from
the last 8 years for the state of Nebraska.
Well, one of the things that has been tremendous that we've worked with the legislature on is the tax relief. We've passed tax relief packages now that by 2027 will deliver $12.7 billion in tax relief. But what it means for people, because most of that's going to go to property tax relief, about $10 billion of it, is that, say, for example, if you have a $250,000 home in Lincoln, we're going to be able to give you a 30% rebate this year on what you pay into your local. Across the state, Nebraskans are wonderful, work with the legislature, continue to focus on how can we create opportunities for Nebraska families. The Eddie Casey Foundation ranks us the #1 best state for children's economic well-being. That's something that we should continue to focus on, is what are we doing for our kids.
What do you hope your legacy is as governor of Nebraska?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to let the historians worry about legacy. I'm just really proud of you got to be flexible in this job. I certainly never would have planned on the most widespread flooding in our state's history or worldwide.
And I picked this out of the video that was shared earlier. Do you eat cinnamon rolls with your chili?
Okay,
Is that a Nebraska staple for you?
So cinnamon rolls with chili. Okay, so I know that's a Nebraska thing. Not done in my household. Typically, we would have. It's real. That just Nebraska is special because of the people and how they treat each other and how we work together. So we should never undervalue that. We should never take it.